Hey guys, I decided to go live today because it's just easier to do this with a little more time, a little more flexibility. I'm giving a presentation tomorrow at the National Flute Association Convention in San Antonio, and I'm going to be giving a showcase on alternative head joints with flute specialists. And alternative flute head joints look like this, right? So this is just one of them. There's several. And apologies if I'm going back and forth. I'm switching between several platforms at the moment. But I thought I would do this because it gives us a little more time. So if anybody's on here with questions, we can go over them. I've got 4 to show you. We've got 2 alternatives that they go like this way. They go sideways. You play them off to the side. And we've got 2 that go to the front. And tomorrow I'm also going to be showing a couple of exercises that you can do to keep yourself strong and to prevent fatigue. You know, some of the reasons that we need these alternative head joints in the first place. Sometimes we have shoulder issues, we have arthritis, we have had surgery, we have neck problems, back problems, age, hindered mobility, accessibility. We have all kinds of things. So not strength training can't help all of that, but I am going to show you some things that can help with the things that we can control. So first off, to show you what I've got, I have got a Miyazawa. This is a Vision flute, obviously no head joint. It's a Vision. It's our solid silver model. Excuse me. It is heavy wall, which means it's 0.08 thickness. Right. Feel free to drop comments if you've got any comments, and I will address those as we go. So that's what I'm working with. All of these head joints are going to be a little different, and I have them already set up for my flute. So if you have a heavy wall, all of these are thinner. I don't know if they're medium or thin, but they're definitely not heavy. So like, for example, as you can see, potentially, actually, you can't see. What am I talking about? They're just going to be different. So you're going to need some tape to adjust the thickness, right? So I'm going to start with I think I'm going to go from most awkward to the most friendly, I'll say, or at least I'll end with my favorite. So I'm going to start with Flute Lab. Flute Lab looks like this. Reminds me of like a backwards number 7, or maybe to you it looks like a 7. It's got this beautiful crown on it. Look at that. It's just really lovely. And this, again, is from Flute Specialists. If you're wondering how much they are, I can tell you. So this is the Flute Lab vertical head joint. It is $27.95. That's $2,795. These, my friends, I know they sound expensive. However, if it's between this and stopping playing forever, is an investment worth it? You know, I'm not getting any commission or anything out of this. So this is not me trying to sell you. This is just me trying to give you as much education as I can. They're also handmade. I think there's one guy from Flute Lab who makes these from Amsterdam, I do believe. Yep. Martin Visser. You can see his name there. Martin Visser. I don't know. So he hand makes all of these. I can't imagine the amount of time it would take to do that. So this one comes with an instruction book. Right? And as you can see, it fits pretty easily there. The challenge is figuring out exactly how you want to line it up, right? And so once you've got it, like, you can play around with, that's what's nice. You've got all these different options. With this head joint, they do mention there is a foot. I'm going to show you. There's an option for it's not a foot joint, but it's like a foot rest, right? And there we go. This is your vertical. It comes with its own guide, right? So you can know what to do with that. It comes with a leg support, right? This is not included. I don't have it at the moment, but as you can see, it's going to go into the bottom of the flute. And so what I found is if you're sitting and you cross your leg, same thing. That's really nice. So if you like to sit, and maybe if you've seen maybe bass clarinet stands and they play from the floor, it's going to be the same kind of thing. You put that stand, you can move it around. It's really pretty easy. And if you're sitting, the only thing I don't like is that if you're sitting, it might be easy to hunch and then, put too much weight right there. So that's probably the only thing I'm not a fan of with that, but it does give you a nice option. They also mention There's a thumb, I'll show you here in a second. There's a thumb rest and a neck strap. It didn't come with a neck strap, but you can see it basically, it's the same as a saxophone neck strap. So you hook it to the bottom of the flute. You can see there, bottom of the flute, and then that goes around your neck, and it's just like that. Now, the thumb rest, it clips on. If you've got a thumb port, it's going to go right underneath your F key. Okay. So as you can see, I'm just going to, no biggie, right? It popped right back off. So just got to figure out exactly where I want it. So if you play clarinet or if you're a woodwind doubler, this is going to be very familiar to you. Okay. So you can see it's right there, right? So it's not quite as intuitive. It's nice. It's helpful. This is one of my more challenging ones to figure out and get comfortable with because I'm used to doing this, right? But if you're not able to do this, this might be a good option for you, especially if you're a doubler and you've already got a chin strap. Say maybe you play alto, soprano, oboe, clarinet. This could be way easy for you. Well, maybe not oboe, but yeah, oboe. It's all in the front, right? So then figuring out, like, this feels comfortable, but then when I go to play, my fingers feel kind of strange. Where am I going to put them on the keys? So in the book, they do give good ideas for embouchure angle. And they basically just say, a good starting position, have the hole exactly on top. Mine's a little bit to the front. So let's see if I move it back just a little bit. That's even more awkward. I like it to the front, but my flute is set up to the front anyway. So if you're more familiar with clarinet, oboe, saxophone, this is going to make more sense, right? So then figuring out, okay, how do I support this? And you're going to be supporting it mostly here. So with a regular flute, you're going to support here, 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 and here. These two push against each other, and these push up, right? It's got a really nice sound to it. It really does. So if you're concerned that these alternative head joints aren't going to sound great, let me assuage those fears. These head joints sound amazing. It has nothing to do with the shape of the head joint. It's the very same cut of the embouchure hole. And since they're custom made, or at least they're made one of a kind, you might be able to reach out to Martin, M-A-R-T-A-A-N, Mr. Vesser, and see if he could change the embouchure hole cut potentially to something that you want to play, right? It's a little weird finding the option that works best. Because I want to do this because I'm so used to coming out here. I desperately want to bring it up. But like I said, I think it would be easier if you have a neck strap because, and it's again a little more awkward because my fingers used to going here instead of this way. So I would probably start with plugs. That was my fingers not covering the hole because they're not used to being in this position. And the weight, supporting the weight this way, it's not my favorite thing. This is not my preferred, but it's just the most foreign to me as well. Now, on the shoulders, it feels amazing. It's very natural, extremely easy. But again, finding that right angle and finding the way that you want your fingers to go is a little weird, right? So that is, if I have no questions on the vertical head joint, this is, again, the vertical head joint from Flute Lab, right? So if I have no questions on that, I'm going to move on. And then, by the way, it comes with this, and it comes in its own box. Okay, so you'll have all of that. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to leave this here, even though this goes to a different one. I'm going to leave this for the second vertical head joint just because it makes it a little easier. So I'm going to show you what that one is. And that one is from Bertram. And it comes in its own box, its own head joint box in 2 pieces. Let's see, which one does it go? Goes this way. This way? This way. Here we go. All right. I hope that's right. Okay. So it comes this way, and I think it's this way versus this way. It is this way. Yes, it is this way. I had a moment. So, and again, you never want to grab by the lip plate, right? So, all right, so we've got this, and then we're going to put it here. And I've already got the tape set up so that it fits nice and snug for my instrument. Again, my instrument is a 0.018, so it's a heavy wall. And again, the challenge here is trying to find which, hi George, which angle works best, because now the other one was pretty center aligned. This one is a little more offset, so it's a little extra weird. It does bring it a little more to the side, but I find myself wanting to do funny things with it. By the way, can I just point out how beautiful this engraving is from Bertram? It says Bertram on it, if you can see that. It's really beautiful. And I like that because it helps. It's not just pretty, it also helps with the slippage, right? All right, so we're going to try to find the angle. There are no instructions with this one. So literally you just got to play with it and find out, okay, which angle works best for me. And then I've got this on from the other flute. So I guess if you have a thumb port, I still want to do that, not this. So, I mean, it's just different, y'all. As you can see, it's got a great sound. Play a piece. I will play a little bit on the other one. This one's a little bit difficult because I'm trying to figure out where my thumb goes, right? But I think once you can figure out, you can also move here, you can move here. You have a lot of options to make it your own. And again, I think if you wanted to use the neck sharp on this, it'd be helpful. So let's see. As you can see, it's got a great sound. But again, my fingers are struggling to cover those holes. It's like, where do they go? It's a little weird, right? There's a little bit more of a learning curve for these vertical ones. But again, if you're coming from a doubling situation, okay, so we get a little barber. See if I can make this. So that's like dee da dee da 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 da. It's a lot of pressure on my thumb. So I would say if you have arthritis in the thumbs, I probably would not vote for these two. Yeah, so it works, right? Hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to stop with this now because my thumb is not happy. So if you've got thumb issues and you're not a doubler, so this is a little more foreign, personal opinion, I might not use these. I think they're great, but I'm going to go with the other one. So we're going to go with, next we're going to do the Swan. This is the Swan from Flute Lab again. And this one goes off a little bit more to the side. So as you can see, and what's funny is like you don't line these up with the holes. Oh, there is one. Actually, the Swan, I think this one, basically it says you line up the holes with the back of the keys instead of the front of the keys. So that's different. Right? Can the sound come through? Is the sound coming through at all, guys? Because I think it sounds really great, but I have no idea if, you can hear it. I'm also in a hotel room and I don't want to be too loud. So trying to find that angle. Yeah, by the way, this comes with, they say turquoise, but I think it's like agate. It's this gorgeous green stone. And that crown can be swapped out to something else if you like. As you can see, it's pretty easy to play. It's pretty natural. It's pretty intuitive. Does it look a little weird? Sure. But not any weirder than this looks. Honestly, if I'm doing this versus this, the angle for the shoulders is a little nicer. So we have less propensity for impingement and thoracic outlet. And there's not a lot of pressure on the thumbs, which I also think is nice. The angle is still a little weird to find. I forgot what the note is. There it is. But it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to find. I feel like I don't need to have plugs. It's pretty easy. It's not going to be so difficult. So I think this is going to be a great option if you want to know how much this one is. I didn't tell you about the other ones, by the way. This one is going to be, this is Flute Lab Swan head joint. This is $23.95. The vertical one was $27.95. The ones from Bertram are about $1,000, $1,500 less. I'll get back to those in a second. So again, this one was about $2,400, right? As you can hear, it's got a really good sound, actually. So I like this. I like it because it's a little more natural. It's a little more intuitive to play that easily. And if you guys don't have any questions on the Swan, we're going to move on. I think it's a fabulous one. I'm going to get to my favorite. So this is one is my favorite. This is the 30-degree head joint from Bertram. Again, look at this beautiful engraving. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty, right? All right. So beautiful. But then again, you got to find, okay, where does this thing line up? And since my keys are engraved, I don't know if y'all can see the engraving on these beautiful keys from Miyazawa. And then this engraved, it's like, ooh, it's just flute jewelry. Excuse me while I be a flute nerd for a minute, right? So again, trying to find the lineup of, and this head joint piece moves here independently of this part of the tube. So I'm making a post and you guys can check it out later. And you can find out like how I lined it up at home. As you can see, it's not quite down the center. It's going to be different. Whereas normally we line them up, we look at this, we look right down the middle. We're not doing that this time. So you just have to find what works for you. I feel like I should go farther out, but if I go farther out, then my wrists have to deal with where did they go, right? But again, this is very, between this one and the Swan, I like both. I think it was the sound on this one I liked. It's very easy to cover the keys. It's very nice on your shoulders. It's not difficult at all. It's very natural. Yeah, this was the one I liked because of the sound. It's got a real rich, deep sound. It is very easy to play, but it gives you just enough resistance that it matches my heavy wall, I feel like. It's very responsive. Just realized I'm afraid of like bothering people in this hotel. As you can hear, it's fine. It's very quick, very responsive, right? And I don't feel like I have to change my thumb setup on the right side at all. I don't feel like I'm so again, when we balance here, usually it's between here and here, and then these two you push against here and away here, and all of that balances. And when you come down a little bit, it doesn't change a whole lot. When you come this way, it really changes. Then it's all on your thumb, it's all on kinds of other places, right? So, and then the engraving really does help with your lip sweats and it slips, right? I feel like this is really, really nice. So I don't feel like it needs I don't feel like it needs a thumb port. I don't feel like it needs a neck strap. If you're curious, this is the cheapest one of all, right? Yep, this is $12.75. And that's the one I'd go with, honestly. But this is my personal preference. Everybody's different. If you're a doubler, it might be different. The Swan is also nice. As you can see, I want you to compare the differences. They're not quite the same, right? So, yeah. So that's that. And then I'm going to get into real quick. Does anybody have any questions? Please leave them below. I'll answer them later if I can't get to them now. And I don't feel like I have to push extra hard here, or that my fingers are out of alignment or anything. So that's really nice. Again, this is Bertram. There's two from Bertram. And then there's just, you know what? Just for reference, so you can see the difference and hear the difference in mine. And I have this is heavy wall again, and it's a 9-carat lip with a 14-carat riser. But you can already see like the difference. This was natural. This is less natural. This is not natural at all, right? So, I mean, very similar, right? But it's really great to give you those options. If you've got shoulder issues, you've got neck issues. What I did notice with some of these is while I'm trying to figure out where my hands go and what I want to do, that I'm straining with my neck and doing some funny things posture-wise. And I don't feel like that's always necessary. Um, oh, thanks, Natalia. I'm glad that you think it's cool. I think it is cool too. And I know there's a few more out there. I just don't know. I found out yesterday one of them, I think they're called Westman. Hope they're from Just Flutes in London. And I know DeJow also makes a vertical bass flute, and it is so easy to play, but it's the same thing. Like you put it from the floor, so it's kind of like a bass clarinet. You have to move with it, but I also find myself kind of doing this to try to get to it, which is a little awkward, right? So that can be kind of a thing. So yeah, that's a situation. And right. The only other thing I noticed, besides neck, I didn't notice much in the shoulders, but thumbs. And what I hear, this is the stuff I hear from clarinetists and oboe players, especially, is the discomfort they get in their thumbs when they play, because you have to hold everything on that, whether it's that thumb rest, right? That's a lot of pressure. And I had a bike accident a couple years ago. I broke this thumb right here. There's a screw in it now. And then I dislocated this one. They've never been the same. They hurt every day now. Nothing I can do. I guess inflammation, potential arthritis. They say women get arthritis in that joint very first. You're going to get it first. And there's nothing really you can do about it. It's just going to happen. Mine just happens earlier. So putting that extra pressure on that thumb joint is not really great. It's not fun, but it's something to be aware of. So I did notice on those vertical head joints that when you're playing that, it puts all of that pressure there, and then you find yourself doing something with your neck. But again, a neck strap could probably alleviate that. Then you get into the issue that saxophone players get, and they get, that neck pulled forward and it hurts. So you might want to look into, and I don't know if this is an option. It should be an option if it's not. So I think instead of a neck harness or neck strap, it would be great, because I know I've got some friends who play saxophone, and they do a harness around kind of like a front backpack, and they clip it on here. And so it's held from here. I think that could be great for this, right? And I know there's a couple of other options. These are just the 4 that I have. If anybody have any other comments, I'm going to go real quick into some exercises that I think could help, just a few, to help offset either preventing needing these or things that you might need if you're going to be playing these. Very few. Again, I noticed neck, so I want to deal with neck first, and then shoulder, number 1. Let me deal with shoulder first. So the thing that I find that most of us need, we get pain between the shoulder blades, we get pain in the front of our shoulders from too much lifting up, like right there. It's already kind of pinchy, doing push-ups, doing everything in the front of our bodies. And if you're holding a flute now in the front of your body, whether you're holding it this way or you're holding it this way, you're still bringing it forward. We're not doing anything back, right? So one of the things that we can do is to do, you hold your band here. You're doing external rotations, right? You really lock that shoulder into your side, that elbow into your side, and you pull out. And if you find yourself doing this with your hand, that means you're cheating. It's no good. So out like this, and then back, right? And if that's too easy, you can go out a little bit more. But the thing is, you're locking your elbow on your side. And then you can also do it from the other direction. Well, I can't do it here. I need somebody to hold it. But you pull the band, you lock it in, and say, I'm holding the band from that way, and you pull in. And I do this a lot with my guitar players, because we need actually both. We need to work, your subscap is this muscle right here on the front of your shoulder blade. That's your subscapularis. It gets overused, it gets weak, it gets tight, all those things. It needs to be strengthened. It needs endurance as well, right? And then on the backside, we've got teres. I think it's minor. So there's minor and major, and one of them is not part of the rotator cuff. I forget which one it is. It's teres something. We're going to say teres minor. I think that's right. Somebody look it up for me. Anyway, that's the one that goes out, right? And then you have the rhomboids in between. So if we do some prone T's, notice if you come up, you should look like a T, right? Not here, which would look like a V. So if I go to the side, T, right? And your squeeze. So if you do 12 of these, up for 2, hold for 2, down for 4, you're squeezing your shoulder blades the whole time. You can also do some scarecrows. These feel really nice. When I see people doing scarecrows, they usually look like a scarecrow, right? I see a lot of people do this. Same with the V, right? It's up higher than you think. But if you've already got issues in the front, that's not so much. We're not going to deal with a lot of stretches for the shoulder today. We're doing exercises, but those are some options. And then 2 more for the shoulder that I think are really important with building strength. That's going to be front raises and side raises. All my drum majors, if you guys were drum majors in high school and whatnot, you're familiar with these, right? But they're really key. Besides bicep curls, actually, that's another one I'm going to include, right? So when you're doing these shoulder exercises, you want to maintain a slight bend in the elbow. We're going to go to the lateral ones first. So you come up and out to your side. We're not trying to go way up here. We're not flying away. And you don't want your hands higher than your wrists or your wrists higher than your elbows. So you come up like that and back down. You see from the side, my hand is lower than my wrist is lower than my elbow. My elbow is lower than my shoulder, right? Like that, up and out. That works your side delts, your lateral delts. So if I'm coming up to play like this, what do you think I'm using? Here, that lateral delts on the right side especially. If I'm using one of these other flutes to play, it's still coming up and to the side. If I'm doing this, it's going to be more for the front. But we use both to play the flute, right? So front raises go like this. Same thing. So if I've got dumbbells or whatever, or I've got this band, right? Loop it under your foot, and you come up. Now, if it's too heavy, I'll cheat. I'll do this. I'll let my arm go loose like that. I'll do that. Anytime your wrist takes over the motion, it means the band's too heavy and you're cheating, or the weight's too heavy, right? So I like to combine the two. You keep your core nice and strong. You come up and out, and you come up and out. Or you can just do up this way and then out that way. That's fine too. So those I find are way helpful. And another one are bicep curls, which everybody does bicep curls. Yeah, but we don't do a whole lot of them, right? Or we just do these where you come like hammer style and you curl. There's one that I think is really great that allows us to go, I call it a bicep three-way because I don't know any other option to call it. But what it is, bear with me. Promise it's not complicated, but everybody gets lost in this. So you're going to do 3 variations in 3 different planes of motion. So we're going to start with hammer curl, then we go palms up, and we go palms down. So we'd start this way, and this is assuming you have dumbbells, right? So lock in your elbows to your side, nice and strong. You come up, you come down. We go palms up, palms, then we go palms down, right? So if I'm holding a dumbbell, it looks like this. That's a weird one. Then you're going to go out to the side. Thumbs to the ceiling, so hammer style, and then palms up, and then palms down. That one's weird. Then you're going to go crossbody, so one arm at a time, and no flinging, right? We're not trying to do momentum here. So thumb up, palm up, palm down, palm down. That's your bicep 3 ways. So that's 9 repetitions. I call that 1. And that's going to help with all the different muscles. So not just your biceps brachii, but also your coracobrachialis, your brachialis, and all the muscles around your elbows too, because those muscles have to be strong. The muscles around your shoulder girdle have to be strong. And then the muscles of your neck have to be strong. But the muscles of your neck can also get overused, right? So a lot of times we get issues with the neck if we're playing. Oh, let's just add this guy. Right. So say we're playing, and I'm used to playing my regular head joint. Well, I tend to do this, right? With this, you're still going to have the tendency to want to do this a little bit. So to overcome this is already stretched, right? We don't need to stretch this. We need to stretch this. And then we need to strengthen the other way. So what you're going to do, take your right arm behind your back, take your left hand, put it right above your temple, and oh, that's nice. Pull your left ear towards your left shoulder and pull that shoulder down. It should feel really nice, right? Push gently back against your hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then relax. Now, if that doesn't hit it, because you also need to stretch your SCM. That was for your upper traps. To hit your SCM, you go gently back. So right above your elbow, eyebrow. Oh, there we go. So you're going to go gently back. And we're not pushing. We're barely pressing. And then I want you to press back into your hand slightly and then back. And you should feel this lovely stretch all through here. Okay, so you do those stretches. The left side, maybe not. Then we got to strengthen your neck, right? So one of my favorite things to do is to do chin tucks. I know chin tucks kind of suck and they look weird, but if you do them right, they're really helpful. And one of my favorite things for flute players is to do a chin tuck with a band. So what you can do, and yeah, you need, this is not great. You need hey, look what I have. You need a TheraBand. If you ever wondered, these are the things, people are like, well, I got this flat band from my physical therapist. I am not a physical therapist. this is what your physical therapist uses. It's called a TheraBand. And it comes in this roll like this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break off some of it. No, I'm not. All right, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, we're going to pretend I did that. If you've got that other band, you can do that just fine. What you do is you wrap around your head like a headband, right? And then you're going to pull it forward. So a regular chin tuck looks like this, down and back. You're giving yourself that double chin, right? And you're just going to add resistance. Down, back, and back. But here's my favorite one. So remember, when we're playing flute, we tend to go head tilt, I'm trying to say head tilt, chin lift. That's CPR. If you go to the right, but then we also tend to look up to the left. So what do we need? We need to do the opposite. But you'll find if you go this way, take your band and pull it to the left, do that chin tuck and look right. That's going to be way harder. Oh, I'm sorry, I did it backwards. It's going to be way harder than if you do it the other way. So this is natural, right? So that is way harder. Tilt, right? Actually, maybe mine's stronger now. Yeah, to the right is way harder than to the left. So you're going to tilt, you're going to tuck back, turn to the right. Okay. I know it's kind of a lot of information, but hopefully this has given you guys some more information on these alternative head joints. They're a lot of fun. They're really viable options. They're great if you've had shoulder issues, if you've got arthritis, if you've got any kind of playing related issues with the upper extremity. They are viable options, and they're not the only ones. They're just the 4 that I have, and I got them from Flute Specialist. If you like them, you can go to flutespecialist.com. You can visit us here at and I'm not an employee of theirs. I'm just helping them out because they like what I do and I like what they do, and it's a win-win, right? So I'm here to show off these beautiful, cool head joints. Go try them out, please. Just try. It's hard to say if they're for you or not. So fun story. My friend Mark Wallace, he had focal dystonia. He had to drop out of college for that. He had embouchure focal dystonia. So if you guys don't know what focal dystonia is, there's also, if you're here at the NFA convention, they're doing a presentation. The Performance Health Committee is doing a presentation or a roundtable or a discussion exactly at the same time as my presentation tomorrow. But this is very much similar to what I'm doing tomorrow anyway. So now you've had it. Go see that because it's basically an overuse injury of the brain. It's kind of like if it's like somebody came in and rewired you, right? So like you came into the kitchen and instead of turning on the light, the garbage disposal kicked on. Things don't work the way they're supposed to, right? So whenever it has to do not just the repetitive motion of what you're doing with the small, fine motor skills and small muscles of your embouchure or your fingers. That's what focal dystonia. It's of a focused spot, right? It also has to do with the perfectionism mindset and an obsessiveness over it. So if anybody ever told you did things wrong or you did badly or why do you look that way or whatever, it can lead to that. And having that perfectionism mindset can be really dangerous, especially when you practice 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. So be very careful of that. Thing is, Mark, and you can listen to his we interviewed him on our podcast about it. We've got 3 different people. It's a Tuned and Strong podcast. You can go listen to that. It's very uplifting, very exciting. He got out of focal dystonia and after giving up flute for 20 years and creating a successful career on something else, he did, I think, it's not this one. It's not this one. I'm not sure which one he uses, but he uses a vertical head joint. And he plays this way. And you can watch him on his Instagram and his YouTube. Mark plays on a vertical head joint all the time. And so just the angle being different and also him looking in the mirror and watching someone else play kind of helped train his brain and kind of trick his brain that it was something else, right? So hopefully this has been helpful. There are so many other options and so many things to consider. But this is the tip of the iceberg. Then this is the tip of the iceberg. So I really want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being vulnerable to take part in this, because sometimes admitting that we need to change something that, like the flute is, look, let me get on my high horse for just 1 second. The flute is a stick of metal. Why do we think that if you have to alter an instrument that you are less than? It's a metal stick. Now, granted, it's a very expensive, beautiful metal stick that sounds really nice. Who cares if you have to play with a head joint that looks like this instead of being like, well, that's weird. Why isn't it cool? Right? Instead of, so what if it's the same thing? People are like, you have engraved keys? Oh, what's your problem? Instead, people are like, oh, that's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, you got engraved keys. Is it for slipping? Oh, do your hands sweat? Do you have a problem? See how I mean? It's like that could be in anything. So why do we think the same thing? For a long time, this offset G was a big thing. And people were like, oh, well, you must not be very good. Like, I remember when I went for my student models have offset Gs. Then it became a thing when you went to your step up flute, you went to inline, made you were better. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It makes no difference to the sound. I don't know if you've noticed, your ring finger is a little shorter than your middle finger. So now you have to stretch, which can put, if you don't have big hands like I do, you have to stretch way farther, can change the position of your wrist and all kinds of things. It has absolutely nothing to do with your freaking playing ability. And now all these people are like, oh, why do you have an inline G? See how it just changes. So now people are like, if you have key extensions, there are a lot of people with really small hands and they just can't reach the keys. We don't fault kids for that. Why do we look at adults any differently? Who cares what the metal stick looks like, right? Who cares? Make it sound good to you. Just like you bring the flute to your face instead of bringing your face to the flute, alter the darn stick to fit you instead of the other way around, right? So here's my thing. Instead of just doing head joints, I want to see us also have key extensions that are easy. I also want to see this foot joint, I think, is the dumbest thing. Why is the gizmo key way over here? So now my finger to hit this B key has to stretch way over here. Most people have a hard time hitting that. I don't. I can go way over here because, well, big hands, hypermobile. But a lot of people struggle with this, right? And if you struggle, there's no reason to have this darn gizmo key over here. John Lund does these beautiful flutes where these are angled, right? They are angled towards you, and they're considered works of art. Why aren't they freaking considered standard? And move the darn gizmo key right here where it should be. They're that way on his flutes. You know the flute that Lizzo got? The $65,000 gold flute? That's one from John Lund. It's a work of art. Guarantee you that foot joint looks like that. Why don't we make these things standard? I think that could be a post in of itself. So yeah, make the darn flute fit you. It has nothing to do with your playing ability. In fact, it's going to make you a better player because you're not going to be in pain. Pain is that we don't need any more martyrs. Pain is not a sign of strength, and you don't need to push through it. Okay, so that's me on my high horse. Thanks for listening, and I hope this has been helpful. I am going to put a note in the notes. I'm going to put a link to the presentation I'm giving tomorrow. I'm putting up an article about it. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.